I've opened Cricut Design Space and I've opened a new project, so I have an entirely blank canvas here, and the first thing we need to do is upload the design file. So to do that, you want to go over to the left-hand toolbar, and on the bottom, or second from the bottom if you're a Cricut Access member, will be the upload button. So just click that. Then I click upload image right here, and then I click browse. You can also drag the file here if that's helpful. I'm on the desktop version of Cricut Design Space, so the mobile version may vary, but this is where you need to navigate to find where you downloaded and saved the file. So go to that location, and once you find it, you want to click on it and then click open. It's going to open looking like this, so just click continue in the lower right. If it's helpful, you can change the image name on the left, you can add tags, you can add it to a collection, but I'm going to skip all that and just click upload in the lower right. It's going to come in looking like this, and it is grouped together by default, so the first thing we want to do is ungroup it. So to do that, go to the top of the layers panel over here on the right. The very first little icon, this double square, is ungroup. You can see that when I roll over it with my mouse, it says ungroup. Just click on that to ungroup it, and then click anywhere to deselect the design. So the first thing I want to do is talk to Cricut Joy users about this piece here. It's like at the top. This is one of the box pieces, and it is too large for you to cut because it's 6 by 6, and the widest you can cut is 4.25. So you have three options with this piece. You can just turn it off. So if we go over to the layers panel, you'll see, because I have selected it, that the group here is blue, so it's selected. To turn it off, you just click on the eye over here at the end, and it just disappears. And so then you could download the PNG version of the file from my bonus page that you should be on with this to watch this video, and cut it out and score it manually from the PNG, knowing that it is supposed to be 6 by 6, like overall dimensions. Or what you can do is, I'm going to turn it back on, is you can take the smaller piece that you can cut because it's 6 by 4.14 and duplicate that. And I'm going to bring it up here next to the larger piece. All right, then we want to flip this horizontally so that it matches with this piece. Then what we're going to do is click on the larger piece and open the group. So you just click on the arrow over here in the layers panel to open all the layers on this piece. We need the 3 vertical lines over here and then the horizontal line. So it might take a little bit of clicking around to figure out which is which on your box here. But once you figure it out, you want to grab the first one, hold down your shift key, grab the other 2 of the vertical lines, and then you also want to grab that horizontal line. And what we're going to do is duplicate that. And then this is a little bit tricky. I'm going to use my arrow keys for a second just to get it away from that box. Well, actually, what we could do at this point is just turn this off, because we're not going to cut this. I'm going to just pull this out of the way. I'm going to grab these 3. I'm going to click and drag to select them all, and I'm going to group these. So to group them, you would go to that same ungroup, but this time, because they're not grouped, the choice is group. So I'm going to group them together. And then what I want to do is I want to drag it up here to this piece. And so what we want to do is, using the arrow keys, is basically like line it up exactly with the vertical line that's already here, or very close. We can see it's like slightly under that one. I'm going to zoom way in. All right, that is really, really close, and so I think that is good enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this group, not this group, but this group. I'm going to open the group that's the smaller box piece here, the copied one. I'm going to find the horizontal line that is that one, and I'm going to turn that off. So now you have the 2 box pieces. If I zoom out here and pull this one up, that you can cut on the Joy. Now you're not going to have the full lid for the box, but that's okay. And actually this, on this one, what we can do is actually remove this score line as well, because you don't need that. So you don't need the horizontal, you won't need the horizontal score lines on this one. You will just need the new one that you put in with the 3 vertical lines. All right, so now I'm going to click and drag to select all of that. I'm going to group all of that together. I'm going to open it up. All right, so I think that's actually like the easiest thing to do, theoretically. Let me go back to the big piece that we turned off. Okay. Your third option is to subtract that top flap. So again, I'm zooming way in. I'm going to go to shapes. I'm going to grab a square. And I'm going to close the shapes panel by clicking shapes again. Now I'm going to click on the square. And I'm going to go to the size box and I'm going to unlock it just by clicking that lock icon. And then I'm going to click and drag to change the dimensions on this. And I'm going to change it so that it basically covers up the top and that first score line. And then what you can do is you can click on this and click on the group and you can subtract the box. Okay, so one thing we want to do first before you do this is you want to ungroup this, because we don't want if we subtract it now, the lines will disappear. So we need to ungroup it and just click the rectangle and the box itself. So you want to make sure when you look on the layers panel that you've only got that piece. You don't have the lines, because we need to keep the lines in place. All right, so then we're going to go subtract. Okay, and then you have a shorter box. You basically have a similar version to the first box piece, the smaller box piece. Where is that one? Over here. So what you would need to do now is go on the layers panel, find those lines. Now this one we don't need because it's right up along that top edge, so we can just turn that one off. But these guys, I'm just going to hold down my shift key and grab all of them. I'm going to bring to the front. So I'm going to just hit arrange, bring to front. And then we need to group. I'm just going to click and drag to group all of these together. And so basically we have a second version of this, but instead of duplicating it and duplicating the lines and putting the lines in place, we've instead just subtracted out the top. So you can do either one. So basically you're looking to have 2 versions that are essentially 6 by 4.15 inches. So it is totally your choice how you go about doing that, but those are your options. Okay, so now everybody else who is not a Joy user, you can cut the original piece. So I'm going to undo all that. And so now I've got my 2 box pieces. So now what we need to do is we need to change the score, the lines on these pieces. So the 2 red box pieces and the 3 black flaps all need to have the lines on them changed to score lines. So if we click on this one to select it, you'll see the lines here. What you can do is just hold down your shift, click the first one, hold down your shift key, and click the rest of the lines. Now, right now I am set on the maker as my machine. So if I go up to the operation box and click the drop-down menu, I will have the option to score. And so that's what I'd want to do. I'd click score and then click off of this. And you'll see that these have turned into, I'm going to zoom in. You'll see that these have changed to dashed lines, and that is correct. That's what you want. So anybody who's on a Maker series, an Explorer series, or the Venture, that is how you change those lines to score lines. So you do that on this piece, and the 3 tabs. The 3 tabs have 2 vertical lines each. So you just have to drop the groups open, grab the lines by holding down your shift key to get them both, and then just change them to score. And after you've done that, what you want to do is click attach, grab the whole group, And you can check because the top of the group will be highlighted in blue and you'll see the 3 pieces under it, or the many pieces under it if it's this group, for example. And you click attach. You have to do that because attach is what tells the software to tell the machine to keep those lines exactly where they are now on the piece that's being cut. If you don't do that, what's going to happen is the software sees those lines as completely separate objects, and so it will stick all the lines on the black mat with the black rectangles that are supposed to be tabs, instead of keeping them on the individual pieces that are being scored. So attach is really important. I'm not going to do that yet because I'm actually going to use my Joy Extra to cut these out. So I'm going to change my machine to Joy Extra. You'll see I get this little warning exclamation point over here because score is not a choice on the Joy or Joy Extra. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to undo that. I'm going to grab my group again. I'm going to go back over to the layers panel and hold down my shift key and grab all the lines again. And now I'm going to go up to the operation box, click the drop down menu, and you can see I don't have score as a choice, but the Joy and the Joy Extra can use the foil transfer tool to score lines. You just don't use foil with it. You just use the tool to draw the lines without foil. But what you choose to get it to do that is foil. So if I click off of this, you'll notice that the lines have changed from black to gold. And that's just because gold is like the default color for foil. It doesn't matter what color it is because you're not going to use foil with it. You're just using the tool to draw the lines. So now that I've done that with this piece, I am going to click attach at the bottom of the layers panel to keep those in place. So really quick, let me go through and do the same thing for the 3 flaps down here and the second red box piece. Okay, so that is all of the lines changed to score lines. Very important and attached. Now, on the bottom section, we've got the tools and all these different tools. These are individual little groups. Happy Father's Day and stars, and then this thanks for sharing your tools with on top of a square or rectangle right now. So Happy Father's Day is going to be cut, so we can leave that alone. The stars are all going to be cut, so you can leave those alone. Don't have to change anything about them. These 2 little rounded rectangles are going to be like the abstract latch pieces, so those can stay the same. Those are being cut. But all of these items we want to change to print then cut. So Joy users, again, you have a problem because the Joy machine, the original, does not support print then cut. So again, you have a couple options. I have a YouTube video that has a hack for print then cut projects with the Joy. You could use that method to print then cut the tools, because we want to do that with all the tools, and this sentiment rectangle. If you don't want to go to that trouble, what you could do is you could click on the tool group, go over to the layers panel, open it, see what's in it, look for the piece in the group that has the words cut out of it. If you click on that one layer and then go to the bottom of the layers panel and click contour, what you can do is, well, you can hide all contours, but then that will take away the hole in the saw. That'll work for most of the pieces, just hide all contours, but you might want to turn back on the hole in the saw if you can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Probably here. There we go. And so that will remove the words from being cut out. So then you just click off of that and you'll see now the word is gone. Then you can just cut this out. And a lot of these have a layer behind it that's allowing you to see the word through it. So like this one has a white layer. You can cut that if you want, to reinforce this piece, if that'll help you, or would like to glue things onto it because it's like the entire silhouette, or you could just turn it off, your choice. This is also how you would go about changing these if you don't like the words. Like if you don't want curiosity on the saw, you can turn that off and just not have any words on any of the tools. That's how you would turn them off. Or you could turn it off and then use text to write your own word on here and either have the machine draw it or cut it out or do print and cut. But cutting out words when they are this small is really, really difficult. And that's why I'm suggesting for Joy users that you just turn the words off. If you want words written on them, then you could go into text and add the word and have the machine draw it. And you would click that layer and choose, go up to operation and choose draw pen to have it drawn. Or if you want, you can hand draw the words on. That could be kind of cute, especially for like your dad. He might like your handwriting. So Joy users and anybody who doesn't want the words, that's how you would cut these out. And you can cut all of these out individually with any machine, but the words in all likelihood will not cut very well. So that's why I'm suggesting you turn the words off. All right, but I'm going to undo all that. For everybody else, what you want to do is you want to grab the first tool group and leave it in a group. And then you just go to the bottom of the layers panel and you click flatten. And you'll notice that bumps it to the top and turns it into print and cut. And so you just go through and do that for all of these. All right, and that's everything you need to do to be ready to cut this out, print and cut it, etc. So now we go up to the upper right and click make. You can save the project if you want to at this point. I'm going to click don't save. I'm going to be doing this on a mat, so I'm going to click confirm. And then for the print and cut mat, I'm going to be cutting this out of 65 pound 176 GSM white cardstock. And I kind of like to rearrange this stuff to just sort of give things a little bit more space, because when I do this as print and cut, I do add a bleed to this just to make it a little bit, just to try to limit the white edges that wind up around these when you cut them out. If you add a little bit of bleed, it helps. It doesn't totally eliminate it, but it helps. And if you're new to print and cut, what you can see on the screen here on the mat is this red line that kind of goes all the way around. And you have to make sure that you get all of your print and cut elements inside that red line. So then you would also want to go through any other mats you've got on here. So white is white, obviously. Gray is the silver cardstock. Black is black. Red is red. Yellow is gold, and blue is blue. Now, if you want to rearrange the mats, rearrange things on the mat, you can do that. And I would suggest for the two mats you're getting for the box pieces that you take one of these and rotate it. It's really got to make sure it's on the mat totally to rotate it. And then you can click the three dots and click move object, and you want to move it onto the other red mat. Click confirm. It's going to bring it in at the same location, so you just want to drag down the other piece so that you're not overlapping. But then, depending on what machine you're using, you can cut out both pieces. Joy users, you will have to cut it vertically, so you will probably need two mats or use a 12-inch long mat to cut them both, although they might be too long to cut them both on the 12-inch long mat. So just bear that in mind. Everything else looks good to me, so now I'm going to just click continue in the lower right. All right, so the first mat, we're going to do the printing first. So it's going to ask me to send this to the printer. So you click on that. Just gives you some info about the sensor marks. Click next. Then you want to find the printer that is the printer you want to use if you have more than one. So I leave add bleed on because puts like a halo of ink around each image so that then when it's cut, if the cut isn't exactly correct all the way around the edges, it fills that in so you don't get like a white border around it. And then you definitely want to turn on the Use System dialog box. That means you're going to get your printer's dialog box to open and you can change the settings. So I'm going to click Print. And here's my printer dialog box. Now sometimes, especially on Mac computers, Apple's, it'll open behind the window. So sometimes you have to find it. So make sure you're on the correct printer, and then you need to find your like advanced settings or preferences. Every printer is different as to where they stick that. But what we want to do is go down to print quality and change it from standard to high or best, depending on what setting you have for your printer. You can also change the plain paper to like photo paper matte if you want. And sometimes if you do that, then you have to change the quality back. It's sort of up to you and how you like to use your printer with cardstock. It just depends. And once you do that, you would hit print to actually print it. All right, so now you just need to set the base material, and you should be cutting all of the mats out of the same weight of cardstock. And that is 65 pound, 176 GSM cardstock. So what's the setting for that? Well, go into Browse All Materials on the right. It's going to bring up your materials menu. You're going to scroll down to your cardstock section. And this menu is going to vary depending on the machine you're on. Now, the Joy and Joy Extra have the shortest menus because they have the least amount of choices. So everybody who is not using a Joy machine or a Joy Extra, Explore Series, Maker Series, and Venture users, the setting I want you to pick is the very first one that you will not see here because we don't have this on the Joy. You want to use cardstock for intricate cuts. This isn't a super intricate design, but some of the details in the tools are kind of intricate, so that intricate setting works well with that. And you can use that for all of the mats that you're cutting out. Joy and Joy Extra users, I suggest you use medium cardstock. So you just click on what you want to select it, and then you'll click Done. Now, I just want to point out, it says light cardstock is for that weight I'm telling you to be using, but in my experience, the medium cardstock setting works better for that weight of cardstock. So I suggest you use that and then click Done. Now you can click Remember the Material Settings, and then it won't make you reset this every single time, especially Joy and Joy Extra users. And that's what you cut all of the mats out with. Now I'm not going to show you the cutting because it's fairly straightforward. Just follow along with the different colors of cardstock. And I would hope you can probably, since the white mat is so small, I would hope you could use like the extra that's left on your print and cut piece to cut this out as well. And just change your mats as they go. Now, if you're on the Joy or Joy Extra, where you get to the mats that tell you to use foil, just remember, do not put foil down. We're not using foil. We are only using the foil transfer tool to draw the score lines. So just remember that. It's probably really obvious, but I always want to make sure that everybody's really clear about that. So now you would want to cut everything out and get it removed from your mat, and then return and view the assembly part of the video that can be found on the Summit website.